It's so hard to know what to say on my last Sunday. There are the obvious things like, thank you so much, and I love you, and I'll miss you, which are all absolutely true. I was also thinking I could hit on some of my favorites again. Hopefully by now you're aware of some of my greatest hits. The refrains I keep coming back to over and over again, like, do not be afraid. God is with you. You are loved and lovable. There are some awesome Bible verses I could remind you of, like in John, when Jesus gathers his friends around him the night before he's going to die, and he tells them, I give you a new commandment. Love one another as I have loved you. By this, everyone will know you are my followers. Super important, super true. Or a little later in John when Jesus says, peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Do not be afraid. Also great. But I can't resist the chance to share just one last time what I have been learning recently. What's been inspiring and encouraging me these days. Because there's this one thing that's really been speaking to me lately. And maybe the simplest way to say it is this. Go deeper. Ask good questions. Be intentional. Understand why you're doing what you're doing. Examine yourself, your life, your relationships. Get quiet enough to listen to your own deepest wisdom. And this is so scalable. This applies to the relationships with the people in your family, your situation at work, like whatever is going on in your life or in your faith. There's always ways to go deeper. But Stephanie, how could we practice this? Thought you'd never ask. You don't have to turn and talk to each other. Don't worry, you've had enough of that. Hopefully someone makes you do that again. But my last chance to do another guided meditation with you. So, I might as well go out in style, really be myself. So, if you will, close your eyes, get comfortable in your seat. Feel your feet on the floor and feel the breath in your belly. And bring to mind something that is difficult or challenging for you right now. Maybe a relationship, a situation at work, a health concern, a stressful event you're anticipating. You know what that thing is. And just sit with it for a moment. And now imagine that you're on the surface of the ocean. Maybe it's a little stormy. Maybe the waves are pushing you around. Even if it's sunny, it's still a little rocky and rolly. So whatever your difficult situation is, picture yourself maybe in a little boat on the surface of the ocean. What does it look like? What does it feel like? And then dive below the surface. This next layer is so colorful. You can see the waves above you, still feeling the motion of the currents, but you get a new perspective. You see it in a different way. You notice all kinds of things you couldn't see before. And maybe as you sink down below the surface of your situation, you begin to see thoughts and feelings that you didn't realize were there. You get to look deeper and realize that it's maybe not as turbulent as you first thought. What do you see here? Now go deeper. Sink down, down into the beautiful blue depth. It's much, much quieter. Fewer distractions, fewer diversions. You find a peace in the beautiful spaciousness of your surroundings. You've dropped out of the tumbling, swirling surface and current into the deep blue sea that gently hums along. As you reside here, you leave behind all of the busyness of the surface, instead finding peace and quiet in the sweet depths of the ocean. It's challenging to get to this place, this calm and this harmony, but it's so nourishing and blissful. What is it like to be here? And now imagine traveling all the way to the seafloor below. Uncharted depths, full of creatures you could never have imagined, living their whole lives out of sight of anyone and anything else. In this layer of darkness, we don't even know what we don't know. But there is wonderful, outrageous mystery just waiting to be explored. What is it like to really be that present, that quiet, leaving everything else behind to marvel, being curious and open to whatever comes? And then slowly, slowly, moving through each of these layers, make your way back up to the surface. Emerging from this introspection and exploration carefully and intentionally. And before you open your eyes, check in with yourself. How are you feeling? What do you notice in your body? What has changed? How has your attitude about your situation shifted? And you can open your eyes, wiggle your body any way you need to after sitting so still. This imagery, this meditation has been so helpful for me because I often find myself getting caught up in the events of my life, filtering reality through my wants and needs, my likes and dislikes. Have you ever had this experience? Am I the only one? But if I'm able to drop down a little bit, I can see the events differently, and I can notice my attitude towards my reality. I can think about how I'm thinking about things. Have you ever tried this, played with this? Maybe you will after today. Because really, how can I expect to love other people or the world when I'm constantly filtering it through my expectations of what I think I want, my likes and my dislikes? How much do I miss out on what is happening because of what I think should be happening? What a small world it becomes when my preferences, moods, and expectations so limit what I will accept. Am I alone in this, anyone? And as I think about this in terms of faith, because this is true whether it's about the end of a relationship or starting school or a new job, all of that is so real. But when I think about it with our faith, Jesus didn't say to us, "This is my new commandment. Love one another as long as the other person is doing something you like. Love your neighbor as long as she's providing what you've decided you want from this encounter." Jesus did not say, "My peace I give to you by becoming a genie and arranging the circumstances of your life to line up with your expectations and desires. My peace I leave with you by making everyone and everything fit your mold." I think what Jesus was talking about was the importance of a broader perspective, of getting off the turbulent surface of life, of even dropping below our thoughts and reactions, and getting to that clear, cool place of depth, seeing everyone and everything as irrevocably connected. Getting beyond the trivialities and our mindsets, and opening ourselves to the whole expanse of the beauty of the world and everything and everyone in it. Down there, down at that beautiful depth, there is peace and there is acceptance. We can leave behind our fears and reactions. We can leave behind our monkey minds and constant judgments of the world and each other and ourselves. We can find more depth. We can always go deeper, even making time to encounter unimaginably wild things. It takes practice, but it's so worth it. God tells us over and over, do not let your hearts be troubled. Do not be afraid. God loves it when we leave behind the chaos and colorings of the superficial and come into that great expanse that is always available. God has blessed me so much by bringing me to all of you. I've had a meaningful and wonderful time being your pastor and being part of this community with you. I have been challenged to go deeper, to learn more about myself and my faith than I could have ever imagined when I took this call. When I was interviewing for the job, the call committee, and maybe they remember this, they asked me, "What's your personal theology?" And I loved the question, which is great. And I answered with a couple of things, and I don't remember all of them now. Doug probably does, but I don't remember them. But then I do remember I said, "But I hope I'm saying something else a year from now, and 5 years after that, because I want my understanding of God, the world, and myself to keep expanding and growing." And I have been given that gift by my experiences here. I have learned so much and expanded so much. I will be forever changed. Thank you for letting me nudge and entice and push you deeper and deeper over these last 21 months. Thank you for giving me a job where I get to think deeply about questions that matter and talk with you about what I'm discovering. It's a really strange thing to get to do all of the time, and not a day goes by when I'm not grateful for the chance to have done this among you. My hope for you is that you continue to grow, that your personal theology evolves and expands as you go deeper and deeper within yourself and your faith and your relationships. May you find peace in the depths of God's presence and love for you. Thank you. Thank you.